mai, haere mai, e te whānau. Welcome to the Flood of the Next podcast. My name's Holly. I'm on Gadigal land in Sydney. We have Alex in Te Whanganui Atara, Wellington, and Erin is in Tamaki Makaurau, Auckland. 2 games to talk about. We will start with the men. That was in Adelaide at Cooper's Stadium on Friday night. A 3-2 loss. We did not have a good start to this game. 8th minute, Kikianis, just a goal off a corner. Nice, easy header. 12th minute, Stefan Mork, very terrible defending to let that cross come in. Mork, totally unmarked, to head the ball into the back of the net. I actually, after about 25 minutes, I really wanted to actually just turn it off. And that is, so I almost never do that. I will always watch. And the thing that kept me from not turning it off, or kept me from turning it off, was that I have to do this podcast. So to talk about the game, I actually have to watch it. I'm glad I did stay tuned in because there is a long ball in the 31st minute played from Joshi up the field. I think Piper gets a touch on it. Ashiga wins the aerial battle and a bit of a wrestle with the Adelaide defender. Plays a really beautiful assist to Costa, who does that really nice. I don't know what it is about the goals that he scores. They just look so effortless. Those little finishes, just really tidy. Doesn't have to be fancy or anything like that. Just, I love that about him. Just an easy finish. Nonchalant, because he's done it 100 times in the A-League men. So incredible. A few minutes later, 35th minute, Hughesy. So we had a free kick. Wharton gets a sort of like headed back across the 6-yard box, and I don't quite know how Hughes gets his head on this. He's kind of falling when he does it. Either way, after a shocking start, we were 2-2 at half time. The second half was a bit of back and forth. I think that I really wished that in the 57th that Costa had scored from that own half. He was just off target. I love how he had another crack at that. Joshi put up a really good save against Johnny Yole for a free kick. Otherwise, 89th minute, the ball was played across the face of the goal. I guess it's too quick for Josh to get to, and the person who's standing there is an Adelaide player, Archie Goodwin, in for a very, very late winner. Costa in the post-match said that in the last 20 to 25 minutes that they needed to have been more proactive in their defending, and in the past we've been better at soaking up that pressure, but this year we've been conceding where we might not have because we're just not being proactive enough. Thoughts? Erin, I know that you possibly also wanted to turn it off.
Yeah, I did. I think after the first 2 goals, I immediately was just like, I've seen enough. But turns out there was more to see, and then we got those 2 to equalise, and I was like, oh, actually, no, you know what? I'm back. I'm back invested into this. But yeah, the start of the game, we were just atrocious. I was like, oh goodness, like I thought we'd already seen the worst, but the worst is still coming. We were just not picking up players, I think, and that second goal that they scored, Mork was just standing in amongst 8 different players and no one went to him at all to mark him. They just kind of let him free to get that free header, and it was just not good enough. But yeah, to kind of turn it around from nothing, we really didn't have much going for us. But that insanely good through ball from Ashiga as he's falling over and getting pushed to the ground, and the Costa finish, I was like, oh, actually, we might be onto something here. Yeah, so it's a shame to kind of concede late, but I think from how we started, the result and the final performance actually wasn't too bad, all things considered. But yeah, I think we needed to just do more to keep them shut out for the end of that game so we could get a draw from it. I think we kind of became a bit too complacent again at the end. We had that really good period in the middle. The start was awful and then the end was awful. But, if we maybe just played that 70 minutes, then we probably could have got an actual win from that or something.
Yeah, I think if you look at the game and kind of chop off the first 20 minutes, I come out with, a resounding if it was the start of the season, I'd be quite positive about that result, or about, not the result, but about the performance. But the thing is, you can't do that, and the first 20 minutes did happen, and the defending was atrocious. For the first goal, it's just black and white. Defence needs to do better. The cross wasn't that great. The jump wasn't that great. The header wasn't that great, like the one in the women's game. And I don't know whose man it is, I've forgotten, but, they need to do better, and we can't concede goals like that. And same for the second goal. I think there's just no one tracking. It's a coach killer. And there were other chances. We could have been 3-4 down by that point. Joshy kept us in the game, as well as they also hit the post. And I kind of switched off after those first two goals, like you, but not the broadcast, just mentally. And I didn't actually realize how bad our defending was after those two goals until I watched the highlights. Sorry, and it was just absolutely atrocious. Getting beaten time and time again, leaving heaps of space ahead of the defence. Kind of the midfield was pushing too far up. Rufu was guilty of that on a few occasions, and there was just heaps of space for the attack to run into. Costa had a really great game. Would have been nice if he scored that goal from halfway. And there was another good chance he had where he kind of lobbed the keeper, but kind of just didn't really have the accuracy or the power. But it was a tricky one. And towards the end, we failed to see it out again.
Yeah, I'd like to point out the really good clearance that Hughes did from, I think it was a corner or something. He managed to somehow do a goal line header save as he's in the goal and manages to get it out and up, which I still don't know how he did it. He ended up in the back of the net himself, but that was an actual incredible clearance, which I'm pretty sure he wouldn't have had any idea that it was coming towards him. It would have just probably hit him in the head. And then the second thing, and I just have to point it out because it was funny, was Rufa leg sweeping Stephen Mork when him and Tim Payne had a bit of a battle, and in the meantime, Rufa just sweeps out his leg from behind him and sends him to the ground, and Mork thinks it's Tim Payne and turns around and starts fighting him, and it was quite good. It's a good bit of shithousery, I think, that we need for the game. It was a pretty spicy game. I think there was a couple moments where people were squaring up to each other, and it's kind of good to see the fight and the passion back in the team for that.
Yeah, I'm not sure what else to say, to be honest. That Hughesy clearance was really something, because he was somehow falling back into the goal, but he's managed to get his body all the way across to get that header. Olympicos are very rare in men's football, I think mostly because keepers tend to be taller. So when they happen in the men's game, they're extra embarrassing. So he may have saved us there, although it might not have gone in. But if it hadn't gone in, there's a good chance it would have, bounced back into the players who were ready to shoot. So, yeah, incredible. And the header he did to manage to score that second goal, I'm still not entirely sure how he managed to get that in. I think that was really good. Yeah, I don't know. It doesn't mean anything now, these points. But I do think if you take away, like you said, that first 20, 25 minutes, which was appalling, it was actually a pretty good performance. But otherwise, I don't understand how we are that lax. It's just strange. I feel like I love Scotty Wootton, but I feel like he's dropped off since the whole Perth transfer came out. I feel like Sutz is still trying, but Scotty has been really poor for his standard. But I'm not blaming everything on Scotty. Like this was a big problem across everybody who's defending. Is everybody's heart in it at this point?
I think when we're putting up a squad that has pretty much 7 defenders in it, and those defenders are kind of playing in different positions anyway, you think we'd be at least better at some kind of defending, but it's almost now the point where there's so many defenders that they just kind of assume someone else is going to do the defending, and then no one does the defending, and they just score easy goals. So I don't know what was happening there, but yeah, it should be better.
Yeah, I think it's kind of a mindset thing with Scotty. He was really great last season when we had heaps of form. This season he's been a bit average, and he's kind of dropped off towards the end of the season. And the season before, Ufuk Tale's last season, he was pretty average too. and lots of people were actually calling for him to get terminated and to use the free import spot. So I wonder if it's just kind of a when things are going well, Wooten plays well. I don't know if it's a when the team plays well, Wooten plays well, or when Wooten plays well, the team plays well. But correlation versus causation. But yeah, I think it's kind of just a mindset thing, and he's probably just given up. I would too.
The next match is against Brisbane Roar away, Saturday 26th of April, so that's next weekend, 5 p.m. New Zealand time. Roar have been extremely poor this season, but I don't know, who knows at this point how they'll go. Any feelings in particular on game against Roar?
Yeah, I think I was originally targeting this match for 3 points, but I was also targeting the Adelaide match, and I was also targeting the Perth match, and I was also targeting not making bottom 4 and not having to take that trip to Darwin. Darwin? Is that where it is? Yeah, but Roar actually did quite well in their last game. They beat Western United, who I was really hoping they could get the win to kind of push Auckland a bit more. But unfortunately they didn't. But I still think this is a game where we can get 3 points. If you look at the whole season, Brisbane have been pretty rubbish. And if we don't win this, something bigger is probably wrong.
Yeah, I don't think Raw are as awful as we think they are. I think that they have so many moments of good play and then just, I don't know, lose it for a bit and then concede. I think that there's been a few games where they've kind of gone up early and then just lost the plot and lost. And I don't know, it could be effective against us. Last time we played them, it was a 1-1 draw because we lost the plot after scoring early. And so, I don't know, anything could happen. Hopefully we win this. But they just had their first win at home in like 400 days or something. So they might be on a bit of a win streak at the moment.
All right, let's move on to the women's game. This was obviously the final game of the season. The last game for Paul Temple and the last game for Flea, which we can talk about. Let's see, so this was at Porirua Park on Sunday, 1-1. Eggersvik for Western United opens the scoring, an unmarked header on a corner. It was poor defending. I mean, not as bad as the Mork goal we just spoke about for the men, but still not great. 80th minute, I honestly don't know how Emma Main gets the touch on this to get it into the back of the net. Ball comes wide. Manaya puts in a low cross. Main is just like sliding across the ground and somehow gets to kick it into the goal. I don't know. She was our player of the match. I think that she was really, really good. It poured, which we'll get Alex to talk about, which I think maybe made the game a little bit more difficult, like with those conditions. Western United probably feel a little bit mad that they didn't win this game. They would have preferred to be top 4 because that would have given them a home semi-final. They had a lot more to play for than we did, that's for sure. And they genuinely had a lot more of... actually, not in the end. The XG was 1.16 to 1.62, but it really did feel like that they probably should have been up in the first half. Alex, you were there, and did you get wet or did you stay dry?
No, I managed to sit myself in the upper half of the stadium, which I was pretty pleased about. It's the second time this season where it's kind of been raining during the game. The first time it was actually delayed, I think, at halftime because there was some lightning. And there was a bit of talk about that, like non-zero chance of a delay at halftime. But luckily that didn't happen. Still disappointing to have it be raining. I was hoping to make my way over to the chicken stand to get myself some footy scran, but it was a bit far for me, so I had to settle for a $2.50 sausage. And it probably affected the game quite a lot too. We've seen in the past the wind affects the games at Porirua Park massively. Whoever's going in a particular way has the run of the mill. But I actually don't think we played too poorly this game. I think it was an improvement on previous games. Maybe the pressure was off because it was the last game, maybe we were trying to say bye to Temple and Longo on a positive note. Western United's goal it was a great header. There's not much you can do about that apart from the defending. I think it was kind of a good dummy from the other Western attacker. I'm not sure if it was purposeful or not, but it worked. And once the ball hits her in the head, there's no saving that. Top bins. And our goals, it was a really great finish. It was an inventive finish. She smacks the keeper in the face in doing so, which you love to see. And the other funny moment was handball on the line. Just straight Luis Suarez vibes. The whistle actually blew, like the ref called a foul after she moved her hand. So there's no way she could have known that it was going to be a foul. I don't know. I don't actually know what she was thinking. Like complete blood rush to the head. And like if she gets a red card there, she's missing the finals. I actually don't know what was going through her head there. It's a bit of a strange one.
It looks like both of them reached their hand out to stop that as well. Like there were two Western United defenders on the line and they both kind of reached for it. Only one of them really hit it, but yeah, it would have been quite funny if, it wasn't called back for the foul because, well, I would have been angry because that denied Mac Barry her first Phoenix goal. But also, like, that's just blatant cheating.
Like, it must be something they're working on in training.
Yeah, it was crazy. But yeah, I think, our goal was great to see. Basically, huge effort from Mania Elliott there, gets it in right back, runs basically half the field, plays a 1-2 ball, runs the other half of the field, and then still puts in this pretty decent cross for Emma Main to get onto and score. So solid effort from her. And I think she's one of the only players we still have signed for next season. So I guess it's going to be building the team around Mania Elliott at this stage, and hope we can, get some players to probably replace some of the people we're going out. But yeah, overall, definitely a better performance against Western United than our first game against Western United, which was that first of the season, which was a 4-2 thumping where we were just horrific. So we've tidied up a lot since then, but it's been 21 games in between and still haven't made finals yet. So, unfortunate to kind of see this performance come out in the last game of the season when it should have really been coming out 5 games ago to give us more of a chance. But oh well. Sad to see Flea's last game. I think there was a lot of talk about it in the comms. I feel like a lot of people kind of felt like it would be coming, but I kind of just thought that she'd play forever, to be honest. And legend of the game, and I think she will be incredibly missed in this team. And yeah, same for Paul Temple. I think he's done a pretty decent job of taking over for the team. We've been more successful than we were in the first 2 seasons, but I guess now we're pushing to be a finals team, and hopefully whoever comes in next can get onto it quickly and sign some players and get us up to scratch.
Yeah, I mean, I had been kind of hoping that we might get Flea again to re-sign, and there were like people who were going to the game. I'm like, if you see her after the game, tell her we really want her back next season. And then when she subbed off and I saw the hugs, I was like, those are retirement hugs. That was, I knew it. I was like, those are retirement hugs. She's and so I think it's a bit of a missed opportunity for the club. Could have really pushed it being like a farewell to Flea, and maybe could have gotten some more people along. So in a way, it's a bit of a pity that she didn't, like, it wasn't announced, but it seemed like she didn't want to take the attention away from Temp's very sweet person. I hope that she can continue to be involved with the Phoenix in some way. She still, I believe, has her role at New Zealand football. So she is still involved, hopefully as much as possible. Another player news is Brooke Neary got her debut with the last however many minutes, and her name was even spelt correctly by the by the social media person. So yeah, congratulations to Brooke. So she got herself about 10 minutes. Looked fine. Didn't have to do all that much. I just think that last quarter of the game, there was just so much like energy and hunger for it, which I really liked. I think they felt like they were playing for getting something out of the game, getting something out of it for Temps and for Flea, who, I mean, Emma Main scored like a minute. Like that, basically, I believe that the fever was still, or the crowd was still giving Flea a round of applause, her coming off, and Emma Main had put the ball in the back of the net. Yeah, I will come back to look at the season and a season overview. Any other thoughts on this game? We can't even talk about our next game because there's no next game for now. We've got a very long off season to come.
Yeah, I think we can talk about Paul Temple leaving, and I'm a bit 50-50 on it, to be honest. I think he's a great coach and a great person, and he's been an awesome person to have at the football club for the last, I think it was 10 years. Started in the academy, earned his way up to first team coach. But at the same time, I understand from the club's perspective. Like, I think it was just the last podcast where we were talking about some of the simple errors and flaws of our game haven't been fixed from the start of the season. Like we said, we say the exact same thing every week, and talks about the women are getting shorter and shorter. And the thing is, he hasn't been able to fix those things, and he spoke about it a bit in his pre-match about winners' mentality, and the team probably don't have winners' mentality at the moment. We lose every week in Australia, and even towards the end of the season at home, we've kind of faltered a bit. I kind of probably would have been fine with keeping him. I'm fine with letting him go. Hopefully we get someone good. I heard someone called Bev Priestman is floating around. Don't know who that is though.
Literally buzzing. I have no idea like how much truth there is to that. On the one hand, like when I first started thinking about it, I was like, that would be fucking ridiculous. She can fuck off. But the more I thought about it, I was like, oh my God, if we could get her, that would be amazing. Could you imagine how good that would be for our women's program? So in saying all that, I'm sure she'll sign for Jaffa FC next season. I'm sure of it.
No, they don't have a women's team.
Well, they're supposed to, but yeah, no, there's a good chance that they don't have a women's team either, I hear. In which case maybe she'll be stuck with us.
Isn't she living in Wellington?
Her partner works for the Knicks.
So
she
must be.
Stopped people in the past, like living apart. I don't know. Maybe she has no interest. I don't even know how the club could afford to pay someone of her level unless it comes as part of like the reparations for what happened at the Olympics, because I think we're still owed reparations of some description in New Zealand football, considering we did not get the points from that game. They only docked the... Don't even get me started. I'm still angry about it. But I would like to see the next woman do well enough that I would put up with her as a coach, because, well, that kind of cheating is better than like some of the other coaches and players out there that get hired or signed who really shouldn't for like lots of very awful reasons. So she's grown on me. It's a bit like pie in the sky for me that it will actually happen.
Go listen to a previous podcast, Drone Gate, about if you want to catch up.
I wasn't even in that one, which was good because you'd need to use the bleeper, because YouTube would be like, that's too many swears. We're going to make this age restricted. Hopefully there's a decision soon.
I think it should be awesome.
It would be amazing. It would be absolutely incredible. And the thing is, what I was thinking is like, we really need to urgently win something. And I think it would be easier to, I don't want it to come across the wrong way, but it would be easier for us to target winning something in the women's competition than it would be in the men's, because the investment is not as high from a lot of the clubs. So you're not competing, like you're competing, but like, for example, we'd be competing with Western Sydney Wanderers in the men's comp because I'd say they probably spend more than we do. For the women, I don't think they spend, like they probably must be close to the bottom of their spend. I don't know. I don't know this, but when you look at like what their results are every season, so I just feel like maybe the opportunity is bigger in the women's because I really want to win something. We need to win something, but we need to invest. But it's cheaper to invest in the women's team than it is to invest enough to win the league in the men's team, unless you've got that lightning in a bottle that we had last season, which will come once every 20 years. You're lucky.
I think Gilly said in one of his interviews that we actually are, up there in the league in terms of our spend on the women's program, which is a bit strange because we've never made top 6, and you'd think that if we were in the top few spenders, we'd at least make top 6. But I think the expectation on the club has actually really changed since last season. A few seasons ago, like, I don't know, 10 years ago, we would have been fine with finishing, what is it, third last or something. And it probably would have been an achievement to avoid the wooden spoon. But this season, lots of our fans are just, I don't really know the right word, but it's actually not okay. And they're kind of sending that message to the club, which I think is a good thing. But I also think the club does, a fine job. And I think lots of the hate that they're getting is kind of not justified.
I mean, it's always going to be a struggle with the women's team because you have these short contracts, you have these short seasons, and basically the players we still have signed for next season, they're either all kind of academy kids or, I think the only other ones are Alyssa Wynnum, Rebecca Lake, and Anaya Elliott, who are signed. The rest are all kind of off contract, I guess, now. And with who knows what other teams are coming in and who's out there trying to get players, we kind of need a coach soon to start, locking in players for next season before they go, and trying to even keep players that we have. We don't want another Mariana Speckmeyer incident. I don't want to see Maya McCutcheon go to another club in the A-League and end up, destroying everyone else in the league instead of destroying for us. And so I think, if we're getting rid of a coach, that's cool, but we need to replace Temple soon and have a kind of an idea going forward. Otherwise, we're just going to have no chance again next season. And we're never going to have a chance if we keep changing our coach every 1 or 2 seasons as well.
I mean, I think we'd be very lucky to keep Maya. I'm sure the club will try, but I just hope that, unlike Snake Maya, if she does leave, that she leaves the league and goes to a different league. I think that's probably what would be more palatable. But I'd be surprised if we could. I'd be more keen on keeping. I really desperately wish we could have kept Flea. We can't. I think we should keep Mac, even though she hasn't had the best of seasons. And Worley, what a good. We will have a post-season review. I'm getting too far into it now, but this is a season that could have been a lot better than it was. We'll come back with a season review. I'm just going to call it now because it's late and Alex is a teenager and has to go to bed. To be fair, Erin has a job and has to go to bed. And I'm only lucky that I have a 2-hour time difference. That makes it 7 p.m.
I'm on leave tomorrow.
Oh, you're on leave.
Yeah.
Oh, it's just Alex that has to go to bed.
Because it's Anzac on Friday, so it's double long weekend, so I take it all off, have a break.
Oh, you just chose to take, well, I hope that those of you who are able to take this coming week off were able to. Congratulations on Erin for being able to do so. Alex, I hope you get a really good night's sleep. And
I've been working all weekend. I worked all today.
Oh, right.
I'm on that time and a half though, so I don't mind.
Oh, I know. I worked today and I was on like good money too. Okay, we have leave. Anyway, we'll catch us next time. Matua.